And here's another hit, baby Bonds. We out of
Yeah.
here,
Okay,
baby.
what's happening, JP?
Man, I'm at home. I'm at home. I promise you asked me 6 months ago if I was at home, what would have been the problem? I would have told you I ain't playing ball no more. Something went real wrong, but
Hey,
we all right.
by by the unforeseen things in this world, we're all at home, but this too shall pass.
For sure. For sure.
So I know everyone is joining. So for those who don't know, this is JP Massey that I have on the show. He's from University of Minnesota. He's one of their starting pitchers. He's Chicago born and raised. He's one of my former baseball players. Great story. We're going to get into that a little bit. So let me B. Wilson, what's up, Fred? Q Huck just joined. Mr. Massey, how you doing? JoJo Rogers. It's a JoJo
Ha.
Rogers show. What's happening, JoJo? Christian Max just joined. Okay, so JP,
What's
as we
up?
get started, I'm gonna start it off because I know your baseball story, but a lot of people who are gonna eventually watch this or watching it now, they don't know your story. So, talk to me a little bit about how you got started playing baseball and when actually you fell in love with baseball.
Man, how I got started. So my neighbors played baseball, all three of them. And so when I was younger, I wanted to play sports, but like I just saw them outside hitting the ball, throwing the ball. So I kind of like would play with them every once in a while. And I would remember asking my dad, like, hey, can I play ball? And the alderman stays across the alley from me. And he's the one that ran Rosen and everything. So he was like, bring him up there. And
Okay.
I mean, I remember my dad taking me up there and I just kind of started balling out. And I liked the sport. And while I was in that time, I also wanted to play other sports. I remember I played a baseball game and then I made an AAU basketball team and I had to go play. I had to go practice right after that game. And we got in trouble or something and had to run like suicides for like 20 minutes straight. And I remember after that practice, I looked at my dad. I was like, I'm good. I'm going to just play with baseball because this basketball thing, way too much running. Had I known I was going to start pitching and running every day anyway, you never know. But
Right.
hey, it all worked out for the better for sure. So, I mean, that's how I got started. Obviously, the story as to how I'm here now is a whole nother thing, a whole nother journey,
Yep.
man. But
So I heard you say that's a whole nother journey. So can you kind of walk me through your actually recruitment process and how'd you land at University of Minnesota?
and my recruitment process was different too. Everything about my baseball story you'll notice is different. Like I was a real late bloomer. I obviously you had me when I was on your team. I was probably what 5 feet. I was going into
About
high
five,
school. I was
about 5'2".
5'2", probably 120 pounds. It was something else, and I was that same way for a lot of high school until I got to my junior year. I started growing, and it was hurting. I could barely play because my body was always hurting. And then I remember I got to my junior summer, and people started committing places. People started getting offers, and I was running out of time. And then I got blessed. I remember I went to a prospect camp in Minnesota because they had invited me up there after they saw me in a PBR and they followed me for the rest of the summer. I remember I had a bunch of schools come. I had one outing. I even missed school to go to Wisconsin to play, and it might have been the worst outing I ever had for White Sox ace. It was awful. I mean, it was just I was struggling with those strikes because I was pressing because I knew I had scouts back there like Michigan State, all types of people coming to see me. Then they were getting broken bat hits and stuff, and it was just like it was the worst storm possible. And I remember I got down to later on in the summer, I got down to Tennessee, I think we were at, and Minnesota was coming. And then there was a few other small schools that were there to see me too. And I was like, I can't blow this one, not again. And I just pitched against the same team I pitched against them the week before. And I knew they had like this first round kid, Jordan Adams. And he was on that team. And I was like, oh God, I gotta pitch against this team again. They just saw me, they gonna know what I'm throwing. And I got out there and it was some nerves going. I was throwing harder, but I was throwing a little bit wilder. It was all over the place, but I was able to, hone it in and just figure it out. And then it kind of all worked itself out. And I really started picking up steam towards the end of my junior summer, going into senior year. And obviously it's kind of late. School's just out of money. They already had their classes kind of set. And it was just kind of a perfect storm where I got the offer from Minnesota. I felt like it was the right place for me. Like I waited a little bit. I obviously had some schools coming to me later, But I just felt like it was the best place for me to develop myself as a man and as a baseball player.
Man, that's powerful. One of the things, you know, as a coach, we tell our kids that you got to perform all the time. You never know. But also, we also tell them to have a short-term memory, which JP,
Yeah.
you know, he kind of demonstrated, and I'm talking to my youth audience, he kind of demonstrated what it means to be resilient and stay focused and also understand and know the atmosphere and the situation. So that's kind of going to bring me to my next question, because this has been a topic that I've been researching and no one seems to have the correct right answer. So I'm going to ask you your opinion. I'm seeing so many arm injuries in youth baseball, right? I've heard of a kid 11 years old having to have Tommy John surgery. And I know you're a kid who really took care of your arm. Can you talk to me about proper arm care, how important that is as a pitcher?
It's very important. Everyone's arm care is different. In college, you see guys do different things, whether that's in the training room, out of the training room. Some guys really like to run, some guys don't. And you kind of have to figure it out as you go. I know for me personally, I have my own little routine that I do, and it's different depending on what role I'm in. But I know I like to run, so like when I was starting, I would run after my starts the next day, and that was all I would really focus on, was just running and core strength and stuff like that. And then getting into the training room, making sure that I at least get in there like 3 days a week and do some arm care with weights, do some bands and stuff like that, and just making sure that I'm properly stretched before I throw. Like it's real cliche, and it looks dumb when you see it in college, how long it takes pitchers to get loose and stuff. Because when you're in high school, I was the same way. I played middle infield, pick up a ball, just start chucking. And when you're on the mound, you might do a little band work just because you see other people do it, but you just do it for fun. And then get out there, start throwing the ball. Then you get to college. Now it's taking dudes 60 minutes just to, get ready to throw a baseball for 15 minutes. Like, why y'all doing all that? But then I'm like, oh, man, this is serious. Like, this is your moneymaker, so you got to take care of it. You got to make sure you're ready to go. And that was the biggest thing, and just figuring out what works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Okay. So now I'm going to take you back a little bit, because I heard you say this is your moneymaker. So around your sophomore and junior and even somewhat of your senior year, you were a mid-'80s guy, right? You're living from 83 to topping out at 88. And then, I go on the internet, I'm doing my research, checking in with your father, Kevin Cole, Marvin Freeman, and you up to 95, 96. Can you talk about and I'm looking at the timeline, it's like 6 to 7 months, and it's a jump like that. Can you talk to me about what really got your velocity? And people who don't know velocity, first-time parents, that means how fast you throw the baseball. Can you talk to me about how you got your velocity up?
Man, I get that question a lot. And honestly, I don't even know how to exactly answer it. I went to school, and I remember in college, like in my senior year of high school, I hit a 90 or something like that. And then I got to school, and I was sitting like 89, 90 the first day. And I just think it was adrenaline. And some of my teammates say when you're around people that throw harder, you just naturally do it. You gotta keep up. But obviously, I went through the off season, strength and conditioning, and they really took care of it. We were on it 5 days a week, getting after it. So that helped a lot. And I did some small things with my pitching coach just to help with velocity, like riding down the mound and things like that.
Who's that? Starving Marvin Freeman?
Oh yeah. I still go to him
Marvin
every
Freeman.
off season. And then obviously my pitching coach at school helps. He's really good with like biomechanics and how your body moves and stuff like that. And then other than that, man, it was just getting on the mound and throwing it. Like that's all it was, just letting your athleticism take care of it. And it kind of just happened by itself. I mean, I didn't really do much. Like I focused on some hip work, just stretching my hips and stuff. That's something that's not really talked about when you're at a high school level. At least for me, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to college, and a lot of guys was doing hip mobility stuff and stretches, and I'm like, what are you doing, bro? They just on the ground doing weird stuff. And so I started doing it. I didn't see immediate change, but then I just kept doing it because that's what everyone else did, and then eventually it helped out. So did it help me? I'm gonna say yes, but I don't exactly know if it was like cause and effect type thing. But yeah, okay. It kind of worked out.
Okay, so what's your most memorable moment pitching in the Big Ten so far?
Easily this past season, I got to pitch against Duke. And for those that don't know, my best friend, Kyle Sally, Played
Shout
on
out
my
to Cal
team.
Sally. That's
Shout
another
out
one of
Cal.
the players.
Played on the team when I was with Coach Ernest, and that's my boy. Like for all the time I've been in baseball, and I got to pitch against them. His school, my family was there. His family was there. Donovan Williams, shout out Don. He came up with
Oh
his
yeah,
family.
swag.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I knew I had a bunch of people there, and it was a big game because they were ranked like 15th in the country. It was my first Saturday start, so I was pumped, and it was just fun. Like obviously I went out there and had a good outing and a good day, but it was just fun to be in that atmosphere where it was 4 or 5 thousand people there. It was my family, his family, and I knew he was on the other side. So I don't think I ever wanted to win a game more. And so I was just out there competing. Every time I gave up a run, I was just like, "Oh my God, come on, we got to get that back."
Right.
So it was a different environment. It was definitely fun.
So you mentioned Duke. Shout out to Cal Sally again. So Duke is in the ACC. So
Mm-hmm.
how does pitching in the Big Ten differ from pitching against schools in the SEC or ACC, kind of for example?
I'm gonna be honest. Once you get to that level, everybody can hit. Like it's
Everybody's
just
swinging.
everybody swinging. And if you think you just throwing fastballs by people or doing the high school method where it's just fastball, fastball breaker, it ain't gonna work. They gonna hit you hard. So I mean, it's obviously a difference in talent level once you get to certain schools. Like you'll get to some schools where the lineup's a little deeper, and now you got to focus on 1 through 6 and not just 1 through 4 or 2 and 3. So it kind of, I wouldn't say it varies by conference. It more varies by the team that you're facing and the lineup you're facing. Like I pitched against Arizona this year, and they were stacked like 1 through 9. You know, you couldn't make a mistake to their 3-hitter, or their 2-hitter, whatever he was, but you knew that even when you get to 7, 8, 9, they could hit too. They could swing it. Whereas you might face somebody else that's in the Big Ten or in any conference, and it might just be focused on 1 through 4. And then once you get through there, you know you can kind of beat them with a fastball and break off some good breaking balls, and you'll be good. So that's the biggest thing for me. It's not really conference. It's kind of lineups that matter more.
Okay. So now I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So I was on Twitter, and, you know, I follow University of Minnesota baseball. I follow you, and, like, I kept hearing, like, you guys had, like, a walk-up song competition, and people had to vote.
Yes, sir.
What was your song?
I had Life is Good by Future and Drake.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
recently heard that everyone voted. Let me see if I got that in my crates.
Working on a weekend like usual.
So what made you choose this song?
Man, I just try to listen to the song and see how it relates to me. Like, I started pitching on the weekends on a regular basis, which is big when you're at a D1 level. And then the song Life is Good, and in my head, that's how it should be. Every time I step on the mound, life should be good for everybody except the other team. You know, if everything go right, it should be good for everybody that's rooting for me. So, you know, that was kind of my mindset, just listening to the song and how things correlate to my life.
Man, that's major. Major
Yes,
salute.
sir. Yes, sir.
So I know I kind of mentioned this early. So how are you staying game ready during the pandemic, right? Because, you know, once you come back, that fall series is very important when you guys get back to school after, you know, obviously we lost out on collegiate summer ball. When you guys get back to that fall series, how are you staying game ready and anticipating coming back strong in the fall?
Man, I've been working out, just trying to do what I can. Obviously, I'm at home and I haven't had the facilities that I'm used to. So I got some dumbbells here, some stuff, some body weight stuff. And our strength and conditioning coach back at school has done a good job of kind of hooking us up. And I already had some things from back when I was younger that I was given to do. So I try to mix it up and just do what I feel like I need, work on drive mechanics and stuff. I just started throwing, and obviously it's just me being the only child. So I got some plyo balls that's like softer. Just throw them off the side of the house. Just do what you can to stay loose, stay ready. And I have some really good mentors and some really good people in my life that have helped me be able to, you know, stay focused and know what I need to do to stay ready. And other than that, it's just do what you can to be ready. And when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Absolutely. So I heard you mention about the balls and throwing it off the wall and everything. So what are 3 tips that you can give, let's say high school pitchers, right, that's trying to get to the next level, that Division I level? What are like 3 foundational tips that you can give them?
Foundational tips. So you mean like mechanics, or you just mean like throwing in general?
I'm throwing in general, because mechanics is, in my opinion, mechanics depends on who's your coach and the
Yeah.
instruction. Some people teach stabilize on the front side. Some people teach drop and drive. So that's, you know, that's apples
Yeah.
and oranges, but I would say actually throwing, what are 3 tips that you can give pitchers trying to go to the next level, Division I?
Man, for pitchers, when you play catch, throw the ball. Throw the ball. It's so often that you see guys just kind of playing light catch and then they get on the mound and want to throw it. When I got to school, I was playing catch with some seniors that's throwing upper 90s. I'm talking about they was blowing me away. Like they was trying to put the ball through my chest. And I was like, hold on, slow down. And you start realizing it, then you start throwing it back. And that's one way to gain velocity. It's just when you get the ball, obviously you got to know your arm and you gotta fill your arm out. But when you feel good, let it eat, let it go. Play catch with a purpose. Let it happen. Just let your
Coach
arm take care
Troy,
of it.
another pitching coach, Coach Troy Williams.
Ha, yes, sir. What's another thing? When you throw, for me at least, when you throw your breaking ball, whether you playing catch or you throwing it off a mound, throw it. That's another thing. Don't baby it, because that's how you get into different arm angles when you're trying to baby it and you're trying to feel something. You got to throw it, because when you get on the mound, you're not trying to just flick it and stuff like that. Like in high school, that stuff worked. In college, you throw one of them breaking balls that flip in the air and you just watch it tumbling down into the strike zone.
Get a neck brace, huh?
Man, get a neck brace. I'm talking about balls flying. And these are grown men still swinging aluminum bats. I still don't get it. It's a little scary to me, but hey, I can't change that rule. That's really the only two that I could give you.
Okay.
Playing catch, I don't think it's much else that's like not too personalized. Like me personally, I don't like long tossing, like in terms of throwing the ball up. But then again, I know guys on my team that love it. I feel like it messes with my arm angle and where I'm trying to release the ball when I get on the mound. So it kind of varies based on who you are. The last two are the only ones that I know everyone follows, at least at my school, and I think it's beneficial.
Okay. So now, JP, if someone, because after we put this, you know, on YouTube or somebody's watching right now or someone across this one-on-one session that's in youth baseball, I'm talking about from 5 years old to, let's say, 14, 15, how can someone get in contact with you? Like email, on Instagram? Can you drop your information? You don't have to drop your telephone number.
Nah, get it caught. I'm just laughing because all my friends say it is the hardest thing to do possible. And it's not even like that. It's just like when you get at school, you ripping and running, you going through class, practice, and all that. I just miss out on some of it. I mean, obviously they can DM me on Instagram. My page isn't private, so you can get to me. I'm going to look at them. If you're ever trying to reach out, just let me know, and I'll try to help out as much as possible. I try to respond to all that I can, for sure. Twitter is the same way. You just follow me on Twitter. You can just DM me. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to try to respond as soon as possible. That's the best way to get out to me, honestly.
And this brings me kind of to my last question, and we're going to wrap it up. How important are academics for playing collegiate baseball and actually earning a scholarship? Because I know there's been some myths and some whispers, but I can't do anything but always reiterate what is important. Like a lot of parents look at me when we say, hey, baseball don't get 100% now. You know, you're going to have to, academically, you have to be strong. So can you explain how important academics are and how that plays into your scholarship factor?
Man, it's huge. Like going through high school, I always took care of the books because my parents, but I didn't realize how important it was. Like I know some dudes that's super, super talented that couldn't go to the big schools that they wanted to because of grades. Like it's not all based on talent. Like obviously that's first to getting a D1 scholarship or playing at that level, but grades come second because if you can't get into school, they can't let you come on and play on the team. And once you get to school, it's also super important because if you're not taking care of your grades, you're not playing. If you're not playing, now you got a lot of explaining to do why you're not playing. Because, yeah, you could say like, oh, they just not giving me my chance. But if you can't take care of it in the school, you're never going to play. And they're not going to keep giving you scholarship on scholarship money if you can't get on the field for them. Because at the end of the day, that's their job. That's how they're feeding their family, is winning ball games and getting their best players out there. So it's super important, especially in college. And it's tough. It's tough. Practice. You think you work hard in high school. I was a dude that was going to 2-3 different workouts a day. Like I thought I had it figured out. And when I got to college, they wasn't going to be able to tell me nothing because I work harder than everybody. Then I got to school and realized like, man, you on a schedule. Like wake up every day, same time, eat, go to class, go to practice, go to the training room, go to work out, then you got to eat, then you got to go to your tutoring session, or you got to go to study hall, or whatever you have to do. Then you got to do the rest of your homework, and then you can finally go home. And by that time, it's 10 o'clock. And you tired. You're ready to go to bed and get up and do it again. So you definitely, if anything, do the school for baseball. That's what I did. Like, I'm one of them people, when I'm doing something, I'm not gonna half do it. So when it was time to come to school, I focused on my grades, and I knew I needed it for baseball, and it kind of took care of itself.
So I know EE Horn 6 says, please explain how you balance studying in college and playing at an elite level in college. That's a very good question.
Balancing studying. Like I said, you'll get on a schedule. Sometimes your school, depending on where you go, they'll make a schedule for you. Sometimes you got to make it yourself. But I know how I had to learn how to balance it in terms of knowing what worked for me. Like when I was a freshman in college, I would go home back to my dorm and do some homework. Then I got to sophomore year, and when I was in an apartment, it just didn't seem to work the same way. Like I'd get home and it wasn't no homework getting done. So I had to realize, like, all right, maybe I need to go to the study hall, grind out some homework for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And you got to plan out, like, what are you trying to get accomplished today? Same way you try to do in baseball. Like, why am I here today? Once you get that accomplished, if you got a little extra time, maybe you knock out some more stuff for the rest of the week, maybe not. And then if you set that up, you'll be fine in school, because it'll all kind of handle itself. Once you have that schedule and that routine going, it won't even seem like you're really doing anything extra.
Yep. Coach Rami just chimed in, RAB training. Head coach of Kenwood, he says time management. Absolutely. And I want to talk to that point. I don't think a lot of you heard when JP was saying when he was in high school, he was going to 3 different workouts. And when he went to college, he was like, whoa, it's a whole nother monster. And, you know, the cliche is, in our community, we hear it's levels to this, but it truly is. And this is why I want to bring JP Massey on, so the world can hear, especially youth baseball. And if you want to dive a little deeper, and especially in Chicago, the work ethic, you know, and I know a lot of coaches say this, and I know a lot of parents say this, but it's truly on another planet, another level to actually sustain. I'm not even talking about being successful. I'm talking about to sustain at that high Division I level and be a caliber player and everything like that. So, JP, man, I appreciate you coming on the recess. Oh, hold on, I'm sorry. So, Coach, insert a good Instagram name. That's Coach Broom. He says, how do you factor in the social side of college experience while balancing books and sports? Whoa, that's a great one.
Man, you gotta schedule your life out. You gotta schedule your life out. You gotta know when you got time and when you don't. Like, obviously, I have practice and lift Monday through Friday, and I know I have classes Monday through Friday, whatever it is. And then maybe you take Saturday and Sunday to spend some time with your friends, or go out and do some things, have some fun. But you just got to be smart about it. Like, honestly, like I know people that do, but I don't go out every single weekend and always have to go to a party, always have to go spend time with other people. Sometimes your body needs rest, and sleep is super duper important. And I learned that once I got to school, how important it is for your body, for recovery and staying healthy and stuff like that. The numbers are mind boggling. So obviously I'm a social person, and I got a lot of friends when I'm in college. So, and a lot of people seem to want my time, and you have to learn how to tell people no, and know when the right time is to go out and when the right time is to have fun. And you got to know why you're there. Like, yeah, you can have fun in college, and everybody always say, like, that's what college is for. But I know why I'm there. I'm trying to get to another level. Like, once I'm done with all this baseball stuff and all the hard work I didn't put in, because I didn't came way too far to just stop now. So once I'm done, and God willing, I make some money in this game and I can actually relax and enjoy life, that's when all the partying will come back. So it's kind of just a work now, play later type of game.
Man, that's so powerful. That is so powerful. So, JP, I know, Instagram has this time limit and everything, but, man, JP, once again, I'm going to ask you, can you drop your Twitter name, Instagram name, so people viewing this, that's not viewing it now, viewing it later, if they want to reach out to you and have another question or pick it back up on whatever you have said, or even say their testimony to you, can you drop that information for them?
For sure. So for Instagram, it's Peezy_40, PEEZY_40. And then for Twitter, it's JPZ40. And that's it. And you can just shoot me a DM. And I mean, I appreciate you having me. You ever need me to come back on? You ever willing to invite me again? I'd love to do it again.
The next time you be on, we'll be at the draft party. I'm gonna speak into existence. Yep.
Say less.
Yes,
Say
sir.
less. We're gonna make it
JP,
happen.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks for
All right,
having
And
me.
here's another hit, baby Bonds. We out of here.